Hey my lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday to you guys. If you're new here, my name is Lyrae. On this channel, we talk about any and everything self-therapy. So if you're not ready to do the work, this may not be the channel for you. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about embracing change and starting over. I know that could be scary at times, fear could be crippling, but let's talk about it because I'm currently in that space and I just wanted to hopefully encourage someone that may be thinking about it or is faced with change and possibly trying to find a grounded area to stand on. If you have not already, do not forget you show your support to me by subscribing to my channel, turning on your post notification bell to be notified for new content, as well as leaving me a like on my videos if you do like them. Drop in a comment below. Let's hear what you want to hear me talk about and just to interact with me, guys. So with that said, let us get right into the video. So let me start off by just for the people that this may be your first time watching my video, just to give you a little bit of background. So for me, I think I've mastered it at this point, the whole starting over and just going for it, right? For me, I recently moved to a new state, and it has been, I would say, prior to making that move or taking that step, it was definitely fearful. It was definitely scary because, moving to a new place or a new state or just getting that change in your life that, you're not quite sure what the outcome is going to be, if it's going to be positive or negative. So it definitely can be quite crippling. There are still some things that I'm trying to work through with this change. But for the most part, I did it and I don't regret it at all. I know it's very early in the game or early in the change, but at the same time, I don't regret it. And putting aside this specific change, I've made a couple of changes in the past. When I moved from where I'm initially from, which is Jamaica, when I came to the United States, I came to New York. I was living with my family and I made a huge jump moving to Florida. I was dating somebody there at the time and I made the choice of moving to Florida, and I love it. I loved it there. I needed to make that change. Something was pulling me there, not just the relationship, but I just felt like what I needed to do at that time in the stage of my life that I wasn't fully grasping it while I was there in New York. So that was one of the many times that I had to make a big change, or just I had to start over. Just everything was different compared to what I was used to back home, and then what I was used to with living in New York with my family, and then changing to a state where it's just me and dating somebody. So that was one. Then it moved to when I separated from my son's father, and I had to figure it out. Prior to me moving, I came back to New York, but before I did that, there was a time where, I knew it was time for me to leave. I knew I had to find my own space. And, I was in the stage of finding out who I am as a young lady. And there was a lot for me to learn because I left from my family to being with somebody. So even though we weren't living together initially, but ultimately I had his support and him to hold me up when I was there. But then when we separated, it had to be now sink or swim, Jody. You got to figure it out. So that was a pretty scary time for me. Going through a breakup on top of trying to figure your way out, it's not easy for anybody that has experienced that. And whether that's a female or male, but let me tell you something, it is not easy. So if you made it through, if you've gone through that and you've made it through, you're still standing, kudos to you. You're strong, right? Just being able to figure out what needs to be done, even simple things that you didn't pay attention to. I had no choice but to learn those things when I was getting a car on my own for the first time, because my first car was through him, and I was getting a car for the first time, purchasing it. They ripped me off, but I had to do it. I had to learn, right? I had no choice. I needed to get a car. I went ahead, I got it. And finding an apartment for the first time on my own. Then I got a job, and I was like, all right, I was doing okay. Then I lost that job, and let me tell you something, it just felt like the minute I thought, I was like, okay, here I am getting my life together. It feels like, okay, now the pieces are coming together. Bam, lost my job. Now I'm trying to figure out, like, what am I gonna do? And again, I'm there by myself. It was me, and then having another change that happened that was just so impactful was, now that we're not living in the same household, my son would have to live between two homes, and that was soul crushing for me. But listen, when your back is up against a wall, you have to do what you have to do. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna sink, or you're gonna drown, or you're gonna swim, right? So I say that just to share with you guys that I am speaking from experience. This is something that I have been through multiple times. The one thing I will tell you that is, I would never stay in a situation that makes me uncomfortable or unhappy. I don't know where I got that drive from, but that's something in me where sometimes if I'm not careful, it could work against me, right? So I had to learn that, take my time, step by step, make sure that this is what you want to do, and this is what you're supposed to do. And a lot of that came from me getting confirmation from God as to what direction I need to go. Same thing when it comes to jobs and so forth. It's like, once I started getting uncomfortable, it's like, I'm out. So, but each time that I experienced this or went through it, there were times where it was me. There's something that I was feeling internally, something that I desire, that I felt like, okay, I have to make this move in order to do it, or I have to make this change in order to achieve that, or get to where I need to get to. But then on the other hand, there were times where life happened when I lost that job, and it just pushed me right into, you have to figure it out. Now you're backed up against a wall. What are you going to do? So guys, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to change. I know it's not easy. I know all the many emotions that you go through in order to get to the place of comfort, and then it starts over again, because that's just life, right? So have you guys ever been in that situation? Have you ever been forced into a new normal where you had to learn how to survive, how to navigate those new spaces? Drop a comment and leave me a comment. Let me know if that has happened to you. I will say though that just looking back at my journey, every time that I had to start over or make a new step into a new space, I feel like I've definitely learned. I definitely learned from it, but I feel like it has made me, I guess, give me a thicker skin. Like, emotionally and mentally, I'm more prepared for it. It's like, I remember in the past that, sitting down and just crying and like, God, why do I have to do this? I was just getting comfortable. I was just getting to this, why? But not understanding that why. But it was just happening regardless if I wanted to accept it, yes or no. It was happening. So I had no choice but to adjust. And what I realized is that as it comes, initially I may have that small amount of fear, but it's not as great as it used to be. And I realized that I overcome it a lot faster than I used to. I didn't dwell on it as long as I used to, and therefore I got the ball rolling. So it's really just approaching it head on. So let's get into what are some of the reasons why why it's so scary. One of the things is, like I said before, it's the unknown. It's not knowing what you're getting into or how the outcome is going to be. We live in a world where we want to know. We would love to know everything. That's just our nature. And when something changes, or when we're approached with something new or something different, it kind of like shocks our system a little bit, and it takes some time for us to adjust. Now, some people never adjust because they're stuck in what used to be, and then some people realize that I have no choice but what am I going to do? I have to make it. I have to, navigate the space as best that I can. So just the unknown, not really understanding what you're getting into, or, fear of failing, and not knowing if this move is going to set you back or this move is going to put you at a better place. So that's one of the reasons why. Another reason is it disrupts your normal. It disrupts, it makes you uncomfortable. It's challenging. You don't know what the space that you're in, not understanding how to navigate it or how to adjust to your new normal or that new space, and learning. The transition process is usually uncomfortable. And I will say this, that whether the change is good or bad, some change is necessary, right? When you go through a change where maybe it's not the best, you learn from it. That's an experience that taught you something. And when you go through a change that's good, that's something that helps you to evolve. You grow from it. So I feel like it's inevitable. Change is inevitable, and it's necessary for us to evolve and to get into the space that is required for us to align with our purpose, if that makes sense. With every change comes, it's a new experience, and that gives you, that's knowledge for you and wisdom to apply for your next phase, right? You grow from it. So I just feel like starting over requires approaching a change head on, and if you look at it from a positive standpoint, look at it from the glass half full standpoint, then there's much to be learned from it, or much to be gained, or it could be beneficial for the new phase that you're heading into. All right. Now, change could be, it doesn't have to be just a move. It could be a new relationship. Sometimes it means disrupting your normal. So you could be in a marriage and then all of a sudden you have to get a divorce. Or I mentioned moving to a new state to chase your dream, or just because you feel like where you are is not working, it's not aligning with what your desires are or what you're trying to do. It could be your career, finding that new job, changing your profession. Change is inevitable, so it could be any aspect of your life. It doesn't have to be any one specific thing. It just simply means that you put effort, energy, time, money into a specific thing, you commit to that thing, and then all of a sudden, it's not working the way that you expect. Now it's making you uncomfortable and you have to adjust, right? So it could be anything that you have to learn, relearn, right? So you just have to start over, all the things that you put. And don't look at it as I did all of this and it went down the drain. It's not a waste of time. It was necessary for you to develop the skills and the knowledge that's needed for that other space. It's not necessarily failure. We could look at it, like I said, it just depends on what point you look at it or what perspective or lens you're looking at it through, because it doesn't necessarily mean that just because it didn't work out here, it's all lost. It's not, because the tools that you've learned, the experience that you went through here, now you are that much closer and have a better understanding because you went through that situation that you can actually apply to this new phase that you're going into. And I feel like that's so important that, we have to give ourselves grace when we are going through these things and stop looking at everything as a fail or, we're not good enough for stuff, because it was designed that way for us to take step by step by step. It's kind of like shedding new skin. And so it's like being open and understand, giving yourself that grace, and to know that what you learn, use those tools, take it as a positive and apply it for your next stage. That's it. All right. And then one of the things I wanted to touch base on is how to embrace change and how to start over. And the best answer that I have, and like I said, it may not sound like the answer that you're looking for, but the best answer that I have just from experience is just do it. Just do it. You will never know what the outcome is going to be unless you try, unless you take that step. I'm telling myself this too, because one aspect, I just did it. The other aspect, there's still some things that I'm working on that I have to get that part of me ready to go. So I'm speaking to us when I say this. We just have to do it. Step out of it. Win, lose, or draw. Step out and approach that thing that, you want to do, and the things that you didn't plan for, but it came to you anyway. One step at a time. One step at a time. And watch the progress. Sometimes we don't give ourselves the credit for, even if we took one step, we're doing one step better than we were doing before, or we understand just a tiny bit more than we understood before, which means the links and the dots are now connecting. You've made improvement and progress, and we have to give ourselves credit for those steps and changes that we have. All right. And then just finally, I think I've touched base on everything that I wanted to talk about. I hope that this video helped someone. How do you approach change? What are some of the things that you do to get yourself ready for a new start? Share that with me. Leave a comment below. Let's hear what some of your tactics are, or your strategy is. But other than that, guys, yes, it's scary. Sometimes it's hard and it's challenging, as all of those things. But at the end of the day, without taking that step or trying, without just doing it, we're going to be stuck in the same place. What good does it do if we're supposed to make that change to approach or achieve that thing, and we're just not doing it? So we're stuck in the same space that we are. We have things to do. We have things to do. We have purposes to fulfill. We have people to encourage. We have people to influence positively. So there's, we have an assignment. And the last thing I would say is, whatever you do, keep God in it. Keep God in the center of everything that you're doing. I can't say that enough. He'll give you clarity and help you to navigate new spaces, especially if it's according to His will. And if it's not, you will learn. You will learn quickly that that's not the direction that you have to go. And do not be afraid to make a mistake. You made an error. That's fine. We're human. That's what we do. And you tried it this way and it didn't work out. Pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and you try it another way, right? Or do some different things. Change your strategy, tweak it a little bit for it to work for you. It's like there's no cookie cutter way of doing any one thing, and it's our right to actually change that. You could change your mind. You could change your way of doing things, change your actions. It's fine. But stop being so hard on yourself and looking at yourself as a failure because you're comparing your progress to somebody else's, or you feel like, you need to do it, but you just can't find it. It's one step at a time. If you're waiting for that one thing telling you to make that change, you're going to be waiting forever, right? So you just got to do it. And that's all I'm going to leave you with, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe, turn on your post notification bell to be notified for new episodes. And with that said, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Love you guys, and bye for now.